Hey, this is Stacia, and I'm going to share with you a USCF rated tournament game that I played at Parma this past Tuesday, which was August 3rd of 2021. I once again faced Kyle Burris. This is my third time facing him. Now, interestingly enough, the first time I faced him, he was like 1400 rated. Second time, he was like 1600 rated. Now he's 1950. So apparently, he's a lot stronger than I thought. And I did lose both games against him, but apparently, so did a lot of other people. So this time, he had white, and he opened with the move c4, which is different than what he did in the past. I had another game against him where he opened with knight f3, I believe, and we ended up with like this kind of thing. And I believe in that game it was sort of like a queen's gambit accepted type structure, but he left the pawn on d2 for a long time. So that's what I remember about that game. So this time he opened with c4. So I think he goes for like the same setup, but changes his move orders. But he loves to leave this pawn on d2. Okay, so I played e5, which is the most principled move against the English. It's like, hey, you don't want the center? Okay, fine, I'll take it. All right, knight c3 and bishop to b4. So this is the Kramnik-Shirov counterattack, and I have been playing this for a while. And that's why it's sad that I know next to nothing about this line. I usually just make it up. Knight d5 was played, which is the top move, and I played bishop to e7. So retreating the bishop. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, you know, I want to trade off my bishop and put all my pawns on dark squares and play it like that. So this move, knight d5, kind of disrupts my idea. The knight comes to the center and attacks the bishop. So, you know, if you go like this, like if you retreat this way, I'll turn on the engine to help me, but I believe that white can go b4. And if we go c6, attacking that knight, this is actually good for white now, because they're going to get this pawn. And even though we could take here, yeah, now e4. So this is actually not good for black. So you can't play bishop a5. So it's really down to these two moves, and I played bishop e7. Okay, so still offering for him to take that bishop if he wants. He brought his other knight out, attacking my pawn. And instead of defending it, I counterattacked with this move. Noticing that, you know, if he takes, I have to take with a queen. If I take with the knight, I lose this pawn. So I would have to take with a queen, and that's what happened. Okay, and the move e3. So my idea with c6 is that I wanted to try to get a quick d5 in. I was even thinking about e4 and d5. I think the downside of this plan, though, and the reason I wouldn't do it again, is that I am committing all my pawns to light squares. And I have a light square bishop, not a dark square bishop. So even though the engine says white's only slightly better, I think it was, I don't know, I think I could play it differently. So I'm not going to share how, though, because my opponents watch my videos. Okay, e4. Knight d4. Yeah, so the computer didn't like e4, probably because of the bishop issue, but also I'm allowing this knight to come to d4, which is an improvement for that knight. And actually, knight to f5 is an idea now. Yeah, so knight to f6. Now, I was clueless about this in the game, which is sad. I shouldn't have been. But Michael Jolson was like, ooh, I analyzed it with him, and he was like, ooh, knight f5, aren't you in serious trouble? And then he's like, oh, wait, no, we have queen e5. Now, I didn't even look at this during the game. But he's right. I mean, my queen's attacked, my g-pawn's attacked. I mean, if I have to do this, then I think we're definitely worse, you know. We don't want to do that. So, but luckily we have queen e5 here with the idea that if they take with check, we don't care. We play king f8, and now the knight is trapped. Pretty interesting, I thought. So, you know, the engine gives like d3 now, and we take. Now, white has some compensation for the piece because look at my king and my pawns. But it's a piece. It's not enough. So, knight f5 would actually be a big mistake. So, he played bishop to e2. I castled. Now knight f5 probably isn't as good. It's still a move, the engine says. But I would just go queen e5. That's totally fine. But he castled. Yeah, I find Kyle to be a very practical player. And that's probably why he's getting so high rated. He moves quickly and he makes practical moves. He doesn't try to punish my setup or play the very best move. And in these G30 games, that's probably the best approach. I do try to find the best move almost always, and that is why I get into time pressure. So I am learning that maybe my approach on G30 isn't the best, so I don't know. I've been saying I'll work on my time management for a long time, so I don't want to say that, but I'm going to work on my time management. All right, queen c2. Yeah, so here, yeah, I think queen c2 is fine. I'm not sure why the engine hates it. Oh, I know why. Because I can play c5 immediately here. I thought about that in the game, but, you know, c5 attacks that knight. And I thought, what did I think here? I was definitely looking at this move, which I don't think is good because of a6. Yeah, computer agrees. Yeah, I mean, that's not good. So, but knight b3 is a move. And what was I afraid of here? I guess I thought, yeah, I thought I don't have enough to play this move. If I could, I think this would be great, but you know, I just lost my center, so I didn't like that variation. So why does the computer like this then? Let's see. Oh, it says play rook d8 right now in this position. Wow, okay. It's a move order thing. Yeah, I saw this variation, but I played rook d8 first, which is wrong. I guess now white can play b4 is what, or b3 the computer likes. I also like Kyle's move. So, you know, I'm ready. Like, if he plays a nothing move, let's just put this, you know, I will play this now. And this should be really good, I thought. Computer still doesn't want d4, which was my intention. I thought this looked good, but the computer says, nope, d3 puts an end to this, stopping the fork. And this is just equal, apparently. So instead of that, the best move here is knight to c6. Supporting this again. Threatening here. This is pretty interesting. Okay, I guess black's much better here. Might make a flashcard of that idea because clearly I don't understand it very well. What's going on there? Okay, so rook d8, and he was able to take first. Wow, it doesn't like taking back this way. Yeah, wow. That's interesting to me because that's the most natural move for sure. But I do understand that my position gets worse after this. I just didn't really know why. So I should actually throw in the move c5 here first, attacking the knight. And the knight could go to b5 here, according to the engine, because now this square is available. So if I played a6, the knight is happy to jump into c3. So if he did do this, then we take back with a knight. Yeah, you know what? I think I do like this structure better than what I got in the game. This pawn is pretty solid, and I can support it with f5. I might not do it right away because there could be pins. I might preface it with king h8. But I do like that I can play b6. This pawn's solid. Bishop b7 could happen. Knight c6. And that position looks quite nice. It's comfortable for black. I have more space. And my pieces are going to be fine. I guess not completely fine. My knight will be a little weird. My bishop will be blocked by the pawn, but I still think it's better than what I got in the game, which you'll see. So yeah, I played the most natural move. C takes d5. Looks like it's fine, but as the engine is suggesting, it gets awkward after this. So after b3, I realized something. My intention was knight c6, but I actually can't play that. He would take, and I lose a pawn. So I really can't do this, I don't think. Yeah, white's better. And if I go bishop d7, which I did play in the game, I am allowing queen c7, and this is a weird move to face. Like, I decided I would allow it, and he didn't play it. But this is annoying, right? Like, this is pretty annoying. I can't play knight c6, or I thought I couldn't. Computer says I can. But I saw this, like he takes, and I cannot take with the bishop because I lose my queen. So I have to take this way. This looks awkward to me, but I guess it's okay. Yeah, maybe this is okay. I guess I can play knight c6. But, what about this? I guess if here I take the knight now. Okay, I wrecked his structure at least. But yeah, this is the game would have been very interesting if he played queen c7. But that's not in his style to play a complicated move like that. He plays practically. So the computer's saying that's dubious because queen c7 is accurate. This move is a good move. I mean, look at the bishop. It's quite good. There, and he's finishing development. Rooks could appear. So I think it's a good move. Okay, but it does allow me to get my knight out. But like, my troubles are not over as black. I mean, I have a couple problems here. Number one is that if he takes, which he did, I have to take with a bishop or a pawn. Neither one looks all that appealing. If I take with a pawn, I've got this weak backwards pawn on an open c-file. So I'm not sure about that. And my bishop is blocked. My knight is weird. He can't really do much. My king side seems a little weak. I'm just saying that because I want to play f5 at some point. But, like, there's no pieces. Like, I'm going to reroute the knight. And when I do, there's not going to be any pieces on my king side. And this is aimed at my king. This might happen. f3 might happen, opening the rook. So I have basically three issues, you know. My bishop is weird, my pawn is weak, and my kingside is weak. So I didn't play that. I played this one, but now my bishop's acting like a large pawn. Yeah, so I still have problems in this position. That's why the computer back here doesn't like c takes d5. Yeah, hard for me to see all that, I guess. But the way the game went was like this. Now, I'm still okay here, I think. You know, white's better, but yeah, I mean, white's better. So here I played rook e8. Okay. All right, let's talk about this really quickly. National Master Michael Jolson, he pointed out two really good middle game plans for white here that the computer's not giving. I'm kind of surprised. First, he pointed out the idea of f3, opening up the rook. Now, this knight is under a lot of pressure, and then the queen could go to c3 and even d4. That would put pressure on g7 because that would be checkmate if the knight moves. So that means the knight would be pinned and attacked a lot of times. Those ideas look really hard to deal with. So when we were analyzing, I didn't see a way out. So let's see what the computer says. So if f3, okay, we take. They could even take with a bishop here, probably. Now, could I play bishop to b5, though? We did look at this. That attacks that rook. If this move, we now have knight to e4. So I don't think they should do that. Yeah, and then they have to move it off the file. Okay, so maybe that isn't... f3 right away maybe isn't correct. But let's look at this other plan. How about this move? I like this move. Wow, we could play d4. That looks like a pawn sacrifice, though. So we're giving up a pawn and playing knight d5. Wow, cool. So that is the defense. We didn't see that when we analyzed. That's like d4 is the only good move, though. So the only good defense is a pawn sacrifice. Wow. What a cool idea, though. I'm going to make a flashcard of that. These are the kind of ideas I want fresh in my head for games, so I can do stuff like this. Okay. Anyway, let's go through the rest of the game. Rook ac8, rook ac1, rook ac8. Okay. Computer doesn't like my move. It says I should go a6, and I understand why. He has bishop d5, bishop d4 coming, attacking my pawn, so I'm undefending it. He went queen b1 because he wanted to get out of the discoveries. Yeah, and now it's time to improve my position. I think a6 would be good here too, just to avoid the tempo of bishop d5. But I decided to reroute my knight. Bishop d4. And here I did play a6. Yeah, it's actually kind of hard to defend this pawn. I don't want to play this move because it's weakening and there could easily be a bishop showing up there. But if I play b6, then this bishop comes. I don't want to allow this either. And the other move I looked at was this. But I didn't like... It feels like an artificial type of move to me because, you know, I have problems to deal with and my king side's even weaker. And what about rook c3? You know, like threatening that. So I don't think, and if I move my queen, like let's say I move my queen away, he probably can take the pawn now. Yeah. So I think a6 is the only move. All right, and the queen did move here. So I saw this battery coming and I was planning f6, so that's what I played. Always play f6. Yeah, I know I say the opposite usually, but I always play it. All right, d3, d3. Yeah, d3 is a mistake because it allows bishop b5, I think. So, yeah, I want to trade this bishop. That is what I want to do. That was like my main plan, I was thinking, during this part of the game. I need to trade that off. It's terrible, and then he won't have two bishops anymore. So this allowed the trade. So I think, you know, he misstepped a little bit because now I did get to do that. I was more afraid of queen to g4 here. The reason is it kind of pinned my knight. If I move my knight, I lose the game. And if he did nothing, I was going to play knight c5 next and jump in here probably. And I thought I would have good chances to hold and maybe even create issues for him. But this move also stops the knight jumping anywhere. So I like that move too. And here I used a lot of time, of course, because that's what I do. But I found the top engine move. Queen to e6. I probably don't understand fully why it's the top engine move. But I wanted to actually stop the queen from arriving here on this diagonal. And also protect this square. This square, this square. Keep an eye on this pawn. And what else? Oh, knight b6 is an option now, potentially. Okay, so he went here. Knight to b8. Yeah, this is part of my plan too. But I'm happy to see it's the top engine move. I need my knight to get active. You know, let's challenge that bishop. And I could do this still. Oops. Sorry about my arrows. I mean, this is the dream square for my knight, so... Okay. Now, I had to think about, what if bishop b6 here? What was I planning? I kind of forget. I thought I was going to go rook d3 here. So if rook d3 and he takes like this, I think I'm okay here, and the engine agrees. So that was the idea. But he played this move, queen b4, which I also saw, and here I was planning knight c6. I could probably play this move. This is fine. But I prefer to play more active if I can. Yeah, and I saw queen takes b7. I had a cool little idea here, which I'm happy it actually does work, apparently. I thought if he grabs this pawn, I will take here. And when he takes back, I have this interesting move, e3. So calculation training is paying off because this was e3 is the best move, and I did see it well in advance. And the idea is that if he takes, I have check, and that's a fork, so that wins. So he actually can't take the pawn. I thought if he pushes, I would go e2. That looks really hard to deal with as well. Like, what to do? Like, if he goes here, once again, I have check. That's going to win the game again. So he actually can't take and he can't push. So the only thing to do is probably ignore it. And it's hard to ignore because I'm going to take with check. So he did trade rooks. I threw in the check. And once again, I think if he takes with a rook, he has problems. Yeah, what was the problems? Okay, first of all, I have to take back. I think that's what I have to do. And then let's say he goes... let's say he goes here. I think I can just check now, right? Like check, and he has to block. And once again, queen e3 check wins. Here, mate. So yeah, that e3 move like caused all this kingside stuff to happen. So he saw all that and he played the best move, king takes f2. All right, and I took back because I don't want to be down a rook. And then he played d5. Okay, so I was in a lot of time pressure here, under a minute. But I was feeling sharp. I was calculating quickly and well. That's not like me. Check. King here. It may be a slight mistake by me here. I went, oh, I played queen e3 check first. I thought I went queen e2. But I didn't. I went queen e3 check, then attack the rook. Yeah, this is what happened. Okay. I didn't remember this when I analyzed with Jolson. All right, so he actually suggested a cool move here. He said queen to e4. Now, I love this move a lot. It's apparently still just equal, but we thought it might be winning because, okay, that's a mate threat. That looks annoying. And also, now this doesn't work, this defense, where the queen would defend g2. So, like, we were looking at this move, but I think d6 is strong because the pawn is getting very dangerous and mate is defended now. I'd probably have to go queen e3 check and yeah, get behind the pawn. Then he could start checking me and computer gives rook e1. This is all getting scary, isn't it? It's pretty scary, but apparently this is equal. But I actually like my move in the game better. I like queen e3 check. And after king h1, probably queen e4 here. I like queen e4 here. He'd have to start checking me now, I think. But I went here. That attacks the rook. So how bad could it be? Rook g1. Okay, so passive king, passive rook. If we trade into an ending, I think I'll be pretty happy with that. So I attacked the pawn. He checked me. Yeah, and here I think he made sort of a rash decision, but maybe he was scared of getting mated. Yeah, computer doesn't like it. This trades everything off. But then I'm a little bit better in the ending. Instead, he could try, what could he try? I kind of thought I might be threatening rook d1 here. But am I really? Let's see. If he did nothing, am I threatening rook d1? I think this is kind of a cute move in a way because, oh, there's queen e6 here. According to the engine. Yeah. And that's winning for white now. Takes, 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 takes. Oh, because my rook will hang. So it doesn't work because of queen e6, but let's just see if he didn't play that. Like, if he tried to take the rook, that's mate. And if he doesn't take the rook, like, let's say, you know, I don't know, he played a bad move like this, then this is mate. But yeah, I can't let him check and then win my rook, which I might have fallen into in the game. Who knows? All right, so yeah, but he did this, so we traded everything. And he went to save his pawn. And now rook b2, I like this move a lot. He wants to advance his pawn, either pawn, but he can't now. I've frozen the pawns because I'll take. So I have a more active rook and a more active king. He has a queenside majority, which is a nice plus for him. But I have a kingside majority. Neither majority is close to queening. So brought my king up, but he checked me. And I realized here that I'm not sure I can march up because, whoops. Yeah, my pawns are falling. Yeah, computer says this is a draw. I had very little time by now, like 10 seconds or less. So I just guarded the squares. Now, Michael Jolson said I could have played for a win here, start advancing my pawns, like h5, g5 here. My king can still defend this, but just start advancing my pawns because white can't do anything. They can't march their king over, or I take this. They can't really leave here, I take this. And they can't advance, or I take this. So white's kind of paralyzed, and I could improve by advancing my pawns and then bringing my king up closer. So that's probably what I should have done. But with 10 seconds left and him having more time, like a minute or two, he offered me a draw, and I did accept it. But hey, a draw against a 1950, I will take it. So I like to review key moments of the game. We're going to do it very quickly. So this was an English Kramnik-Shirov counterattack. I'm going to study this opening because I want a new way of playing it. I'm not happy with the way this went. Yeah, this whole light square strategy was wrong because I have a light square bishop. And I struggled with that through the entire middle game. All of this was very difficult for me. And I was totally under pressure until this move, allowing bishop b5. So I finally got the trade off my bishop, and that made it a lot easier for me to play. And the position's about equal. This was still hard, but I'm actually really proud of this move, knight c6, because this is where I saw that e3 idea. So I sack my pawn temporarily. Well, I guess I am sacking a pawn. Yeah. Or did that win a pawn? I'm not sure. Oh, that did win a pawn. Yeah, so he lost his pawn when he traded everything. So I sacked a pawn but got tons of counterplay here. And it was enough to hold the draw. Yeah, and then this ending, I think I will practice this type of ending with the computer so that perhaps I'll get good enough at this kind of ending to play it with 10 seconds left next time. That would be the goal. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the game. I definitely enjoyed this one. My next two games, I will probably post videos for. They were both painful. And you're probably going to scream at me through your computer screen. But don't scream at me, okay? I'm sensitive. So, okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.